What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Fitment Industries Garage, and we are here today with yet another episode of What Wheels Fit, where we go over all different types of wheel, tire, and suspension setups for you guys for a bunch of different vehicles that you asked for, or maybe you just don't ask for, to help you on your journey to find a new setup of wheels, tires, suspension for your car. I'm Jels from Fitment Industries, and today we are going to be covering one of the all-time favorite turbo front-wheel drive cars from the 2000s, and that is the Chevy Cobalt SS. Before we go ahead and get right into it, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and check out some of the other videos that we've been uploading right here on the Fitment Industries Garage channel. And of course, once you know what's gonna fit your Cobalt SS when you're done with the video and all that kind of stuff, don't forget to hit up fitmentindustries.com afterwards and check out all the wheels, tires, and suspension options that we have available for Cobalt SSs, or maybe anything else that you have sitting in your garage. Anyway, we try to make this as simple and as straightforward as we can. Picking out wheels for your car is a big deal, and is definitely one of those things you want to get right the first time. So what we're gonna do is take a look at some of the Cobalt SSs that are currently sitting in our fitment gallery right now over at fitmentindustries.com and go over what they are running for wheels, tires, and suspension. Get a general idea of what people out there who are already running an aftermarket setup are going with. We're gonna break these cars up into a few different categories determined on their type of fitment and the modifications needed. So this is more just gonna be one kind of long list, so get ready. First things first, these cars are running a 5x110 bolt pattern. That's the first thing that you need to know. Next, we have a general fitment range for these cars too, and that gives us anywhere between an 18 and 20 inch diameter for the wheel, even though not many people are running more than an 18, 7 to 9 inches for the width, and an offset that lands between plus 35 and a plus 45. Now, that is the averages from what we see most people running. However, even though it does narrow it down a little bit, it's still a pretty big range when you actually think about it. So let's go ahead and get into our list of cars here, which is going to start off pretty mild to give some options and examples for those who are looking for a good, solid, dailyable setup that isn't gonna risk taking away any of the drivability of anything like that, and it won't require any fender rolling or aftermarket suspension stuff like control arms or anything like that. So let's kick off the day with this 2006 with some Enkei M52 wheels. Now these are a size of an 18x8 with a plus 40 offset. Now these are wrapped in a Federal 595 tire with a size of a 235/40, and then it's actually sitting on some stock suspension. Now you're actually getting kind of a nearly flush fitment with this, surprisingly enough, and it's probably helped because it is a stock suspension. There's no natural camber coming in, no rubbing issues, no clearance issues. Obviously, I would imagine that even with some lowering springs, this would still be a good, solid daily setup. Next up, we get a little bit wider and a little bit lower. We have a 2009 with some Forgestar F14s, 18x8.5 with a plus 42 offset. Now these are wrapped in some Continental Extreme Contact Sport tires, 235/40 for the size, and then sitting on some BC racing coils. Still no need for fender rolling and still no rubbing issues either. So even with going up to an 8.5 inch for the width, the owner decided to go up a little bit in that offset to a plus 42 to help with the fitment, giving us a nearly flush fitment for this car. A good difference on what a difference in offset really makes would be this 2010 with some Varstone ES2s. Now these are also an 18x8.5, but they are with a plus 30 offset. And they push these wheels up 12 millimeters further than the last car that we looked at. For tires, looking at a 235/30 Nitto NT05, and again, sitting on BC racing coils for the suspension. Now this is a very, very flush fitment that looks pretty aggressive, especially with the NT05. This car lists that the fenders aren't rolled, but it might be a good idea to do that with such an aggressive setup like this. Now from here, there really is no in between when it comes to the cars that we just looked at to the next set of cars that we're about to go over. Either people are running like an 8 or an 8.5, or they just jump straight up to a 9.5 with a plus 35 offset. That's like the go-to. We see one car that kind of just, was an in-between, but mostly just because, it's so low. And this would be a 2009 with some Varstone MK2s, 18x9 plus 32 offset with some Nitto NT555 tires. Now this is a 215/40, and then on some Swift coilovers, absolutely slammed. Now, obviously, because this car is so low, fenders are rolled and pulled, the tires are stretched a little bit to get that tucked fitment. But getting back on track, let's get into some wider setups. Take a look at this 2009 with some Varstone ES3s, 18x9.5 plus 30 with some Federal 595 tires, 235/40 for the size. And then for suspension, we're sitting on some Megan Racing coilovers. Now these coilovers are maxed out, and there is a slight rub at full turn with the 9.5 wide, even with the fenders rolled and pulled. The rubbing will most likely be on the inside somewhere. And that's really, really about it. People run pretty similar setups on these cars. Like every car in there is running a very, very similar setup when it comes to size. And if you're really set on going with a 9.5 and don't want to have to deal with fitment issues or rolling your fenders or anything like that, I would recommend going with a higher offset, something like a plus 38 or a plus 40 would help out a ton. Just be careful of that inside clearance there because you are getting wider, lower offset, you might not clear stuff on the inside. But anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this helped you guys out in your journey to find some new wheels, tires, suspension for your Chevy Cobalt SS. Of course, if you ever want to find out more information, feel free to hop on over to the gallery for yourself. We got a ton of Cobalts in there. You can take a look at all the specifications listed just like we went over here in case you didn't find something that you were really, really happy about. You can go check them out for yourself. Other than that, wheels, tires, suspension, fitmentindustries.com. Let us know down in the comments what car you'd like us to cover next. I'm Giles. We'll see you later. Peace.